Hello people of YouTube, my name is Steve Gray and thank you for watching. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you would like me to do for future anime and cartoon related videos. So today we are talking about Yashahime, Princess Half Demon, episode 3. We're going to do another review here for you. And we start off kind of with a big old bang. So basically the demon has access to two of the pearls, the red pearl and the gold pearl, from both Mora and Setsuna. And Giant Centipede Demon kind of wreaking havoc. But then Toa magically can generate a demon sword. I guess that's her ability, which is pretty cool. So we got this giant lightsaber looking sword thing, stabs it through half of her. Doesn't end up actually killing her, and then she can't figure out how to do it again, unfortunately. So her younger sister, May, it goes after the family, her grandparents, and then Setsuna comes out with the spear and just stabs it in the head, kills it, they get their pearls back. What's interesting, though, is Mora, which is Inuyasha and Kagome's daughter, most likely, we don't understand why she has a red pearl unless it was Inuyasha's initial red pearl and he gave it to her, possibly, because if that's the case, she wouldn't even be a half demon, she'd be a quarter demon. But she has the ability to say that Setsuna and Toa are basically related. They are the daughters of both Sesshomaru. Setsuna never met them, never met him, and Toa doesn't remember anyway, which is Inuyasha's brother. But it's kind of weird because Setsuna doesn't recognize Toa, at all. She doesn't remember anything. And we later find out the reason she doesn't remember anything is because there's some sort of demon called the Dream Butterfly. Basically, it steals your dreams, your ability to sleep, and some of your memory. So it stole all of this from Setsuna, and Toa obviously is blaming herself because if she never let go of Setsuna's hand to begin with, then she would have never got transported to Tokyo, modern day Tokyo, and all this crazy mess never would have happened. We learn that it has been 50 years had passed since kind of the events of Inuyasha played out. So, they were both, I don't know how old Inuyasha was. I think Kagome was around 14 or 15. So, that kind of makes sense because you got to figure, another 20 years or so before they have a kid together. And then, the kids got to grow up, etc. So, about 50 years have passed since the end events of Inuyasha. So, at least we know the time frame now and what's going on with there. We learn the Root Demon, which took over Toa's body momentarily, and Setsuna and Toa were fighting. And then she used her butterfly ability to knock everybody out after it went from Toa to Mei, because it figured children easier can control. They're not going to kill a kid, in which they didn't. Setsuna had some other kind of potion ability to draw the small demon out and kill it. And it was a root. It was some sort of part of the big root that we've been seeing the past couple of episodes, and that has attached itself to the tree, which is time traveling. We learned that the well was made out of the wood from that tree, which gave it the time traveling ability. So now all of them are currently trapped in modern day Tokyo, and that's going to be interesting. It was an awkward moment when Mora kind of was like, oh my god, the shower is amazing, modern day technology, awesome, and she walks out butt naked, and I was like, oh god. And then the one is covering the husband's eyes, and I was like, oh, that's kind of hilarious. They're all kind of staying in the same room. And conveniently, they have beds for all of them, so is what it is. He doesn't really care, because he's like, yep, oh, this is my daughter's, or my sister's daughter, so obviously my niece, so I'm going to obviously let them stay. And then kind of related to Sesshomaru at the same time there as well. So we'll definitely wait to see what happens. It looks like the preview for next episode, something along with them trying to get back, all three of them trying to get back to the feudal lord time in Japan, go defeat all of those demons, etc. From the first episode, we know that eventually they do get back. I don't know how, I don't know when. Obviously, there's some sort of beef between Setsuna and Toa, which basically we learn that I think the village elder was talking about the cub mentality, which basically is they're only going to raise the strongest one. So basically, Sesshomaru, being a demon, basically dropped both of them off, they'll figure it out on their own, and they'll grow up, become strong, and then I will continue to praise the strongest one. So They might end up having to fight each other or kill each other at some point in time, which is not good. We'll definitely have to wait and see how that whole situation plays out. But basically, we got two half-demons, and apparently the more human blood you have, the more that kind of nerfs your demon ability, which I never knew. So that would mean that Mora being a quarter demon, her abilities would be a lot less powerful than Toa and Mora. Or sorry, I said Suna rather. And that kind of makes sense, I guess, because, quarter demon versus half demon, a lot of blood they have in their system, whatever. I don't know how all that fancy genetic anime stuff works. So, moving forward, next episode, we are going to see all of them trying to get into the tree. So, it's nice to see an anime. We got some strong female characters. Usually it's a bunch of dudes out there. So it's something different because, you're kind of going against the gender norms a little bit there. You're going kind of towards the LGBTQ community with Toa and kind of her general style. Obviously, we haven't talked about their interest in men or women, either or yet, which I'm sure that'll come up at some point in the series because it usually does here and there. That's something that we've kind of come to expect. But they have to be heroes first before any of that goes down. Like every shonen anime ever, they're not going to get together until the task is complete, until they obtain their goal. Like they talk about My Hero Academia, poor Raka, she is never getting with Deku until he becomes the #1 hero. We're going to see them together at the end of the series, and that's basically the whole thing with that. Same with Naruto, Hinata, Sasuke, Sakura, everybody. Nobody gets together until the end of the series. That just seems to be how it is. Unless you're going after like one of those high school romance anime, then obviously there's going to be some more some more romantic aspects of the life. I think Monster and Misune, I think, is one of them. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. I don't know. I've watched an episode or two of that, but it is what it is. So I think that pretty much sums up the bulk of this episode. We got some good action scenes. We got some more background knowledge. I'm definitely a lot happier with this episode, being that the first two episodes without the background knowledge, I was very confused. I didn't really understand anything, what the heck was going on. Everybody's like, oh, this is a play on my childhood, bringing back my childhood. It wasn't really bringing back my childhood, because I saw a few episodes of Inuyasha here and there. It came out before I probably even had decent internet and YouTube was a thing and you were able to watch it online. So there wasn't really a way for me to watch it unless I saw on Toonami or bought the physical VHS tape or DVD. That's how long ago we're talking about Inuyasha came out. This came out before like any of that was like prime time. Nobody had your smartphones at that point in time. If they did have a cell phone, it was very basic, just standard calls, text, that's it. Maybe you could play Tetris on it, but the internet wasn't up there yet. It was, but you didn't have YouTube, Crunchyroll, Netflix, all these other crazy things going on. So it just shows you how much that time gap can really do between these two series. So we'll just have to wait and see how the rest of this plays out. Seems like a very decent anime so far. Has not been on the top 10 list. It was on the top 10 list, I think, with the first episode, but Jujutsu Kaisen, which I'm also reviewing, is currently #1 on the spot, and then it's just not on the list anywhere. I'm kind of very surprised. I figure this would, all the old anime fans would get back into it. But at the same time, you got to remember, this was like the one anime a lot of these guys had as a kid, and then they kind of grew out of it when they got older because anime hasn't really become massively mainstream until probably the last 10 years or so. It's getting more mainstream, and you're getting more and more getting dubs, and it just going out there more and more as well. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. My name is Steve Gray, and as always, have a good one.